Hey guys, Loman02. Currently wanted to highlight this cool ScapeShift deck that I've been working on. Unfortunately, we're going to start with a mulligan of a hand, even though this hand has a lot of things going right for it, but not, if it had two lands, it would be perfect. This hand's much better, obviously. We'll lead off on, I think this is a keep. I'm actually going to put this on the bottom. So how we get blown out here is by Wasteland, but our deck is extremely landed, so we're playing a ScapeShift deck, so that means quite a few lands. I believe it's, well, not a ton, it's 37 land. Jiraga, okay. I think I'm fine with that. I think I'm going to take the turn to ramp. Although, another option... Nah, I'm not going to do that right now, so I think what I go for here is a tropical island. Yeah. And I think I do want to go for a mountain here. Snow-covered, of course. Even though I am a ScapeShift deck and I want mountains in my deck, I think I'm going to want the ability to cast Is It Charm. Another option we have here is to bounce the Jiraga Tree Speaker, or kill it. Bouncing it doesn't seem half terrible. If the opponent invests their mana into this, I think I'm okay with that. Could have also fetched to find a red land and just kill the Jiraga now, but I think I'd prefer to have my opponent spend the tempo staying at mana parity on their turn, and either kill or bounce it on my turn. 2 mana for an investment of 3 at that point is not too bad. Now, it depends on what they cast here. If they cast something else, then I'm going to be hoping I hit a land drop, so I can probably kill the other thing with Is It Charm and then utilize the repeal to push the Jiraga back to hand. Okay, it's just going to ramp it. It's going to continue to build itself up, so I am going to bounce this thing. Let's look at their hand, because I would like to hit a land here. So, I'm going to go ahead and write it down. Alright, there's a lot going on there. But, unfortunately for my opponent, not a ton that I think I really care about. I am going to go ahead and just repeal this thing. I really hope I hit a land drop. I don't. However, I am just going to use this personal tutor to find, I believe, revealed card zone. I don't know why. I don't know what he's talking about, to be honest. I think what we do here is just go for Kodama's Reach would be nice. But it's going to leave me tapped out, unfortunately. So I think we just have to go with Nature's Lore. Kind of anemic, but we have Snapcaster to get it back to find our ScapeShift. But missing land drops is not something we want to be doing on this deck, but I also don't want to give my opponent just tons of mana advantage. And what this will also allow me to do is they're going to re-ramp this thing more than likely. And by doing that, it's going to allow us to find a land card untapped, which is relevant here, and then burn it out. I think we're just going to go for, well, it needs to be blue. So I suppose we just need to take the damage, because there's only one that can do that. Yep, I'm going to take the damage here. And just burn this thing out. And if we hit a land, we may just go with Fact or Fiction. If we don't hit a land, then I'm probably going to just cast out the Nissa. Bow of Nylea is fine. This is Trample or Death Touch. Death Touch is not extremely relevant. Well, this draw has not been great as far as hitting land drops. And ideally, or ramp. And ideally, we really want to be hitting a land drop at a minimum every turn, if not going more than that. Yes, I would like to use this. However, we're going to stay at mana parity with our turn at a minimum here, which, you know, our opponent's really not doing much. If they Primal Command next turn, it's not so great for us, but not much can be done about it at this point. I wonder if they'll just Primal Command and put a land on top. They could do that. Primal Command is also quite good against Personal Tutor, so that is a thing. It may be that we just eschew the Personal Tutor route because of Primal Command. I don't know. Yeah, it's a text difference. My bad, dude. Yeah, some players get annoyed when people do that, but I want to remember the hand, especially with some of these cards, because I don't play with them that often. Mold Shambler. Actually, I do know these cards, but I don't play with them that often, so memorizing them, if it were vintage or a more, common, more common green deck or something like that in this format, I'd probably remember all of them. Like cards like Jiraga, I know, but I guess all these cards I know, which is not all of them see a ton of play. Alrighty, guys. Well, waiting for the opponent to do something. So I think I'm going to go on a quick pause. Nope, they're going to cast their Primal Command. Alright. Well, I'm going to redraw that. Could have also saved Is It Charm to counter this. I don't think that's right, though. So we're going to go back a land drop here, which stinks. Could into the north to ramp next turn. Acidic Slime? Okay. Acidic Slime is not what worries me the most here. I think I am just going to into the north here. I think, honestly, the best line of play they could have taken there was actually gaining the life and finding the creature. I don't think they're going to, put me into Oblivion on lands. I think I want an island here. Oh, that's a forest. Oops. So now they'll blow up a land. But I have Burst Lightning plus Factor Fiction to kind of re-up on cards. And it's a commitment of 5 mana for a 2/2 body, which is not that disheartening. If it was like Primeval Titan, that would have been much more disconcerting for what we're up to. But, meh. I don't really care if they blow up one land. More than likely, they're going to blow up my black land. That'd be my guess here. So my Watery Grave. Yeah, Watery Grave makes the most sense on this board. Limits my play the most. So we're at 6. They're at 18. A 7th land plus ScapeShift would be lethal from this position, but we're going to go back down to 5 here. More than likely, I will actually Factor Fiction, depending on my draw, on my turn to make my land drop, and or hopefully ramp. So we'll see what they get up to here. My guess is just a pretty, prosaic Acidic Slime blowing up the Watery Grave. And then we have options whether to Burst Lightning it to continue to get in there for some incremental damage, or to, to just wait on the Burst Lightning. I mean, 4 damage is a significant chunk, so I mean, it could be that we want to just use it to dome them for 4 and just trade with Snapcaster, but I think having seen their hand, unless they're going to try to Root Awaken us out, I guess Mold Shambler also blows up lands, so I mean, they have options for land destruction here. And I believe Mold Shambler is a 3/3. Yeah, it could just be like a Panza-style deck. I mean, seeing Primal Command does lean a little more towards like a Panza-style deck. But I think being able to find cards with Factor Fiction is going to put us in good stead. So, like, they're in a weird place where, like, I think they're playing both Panza and, like, a green, like, ramp-style deck, which I guess is not diametrically opposed, but cards like Nihilea, or Bow of Nihilea, I don't think are good in that deck. I guess just keep you alive. Alright, guys. Well, quick pause. My opponent is playing a little slow, and, there's not a ton to commentate on. We kind of know their lines, which feel pretty deterministic. It's either going to be a Shambler turn or an Acidic Slime turn. I don't foresee, much else happening here, but we shall see. Okay, so we're getting Slimeballed here. Yep, they blew up the land we expected. Kitchen Fink's a pretty cool one. We're going to do exactly what we said we're going to do here. I'm just going to go ahead and Factor Fiction. Well, probably take the Dig Through Time pile, but we'll see how they spread it out. May just take lands here. They can Mold Shamble. Oh yeah, easy pickup there. think here I'm just going to play an island. I think I am going to burn this thing off and get in there for some incremental damage. Don't really like picking up Smoldering Marsh here because that makes that does make our okay, Mold Shambler kicked, blowing up a land, I assume, again, which is fine. Could be the mountain this time, or it could be one of the non-basics. All right, non-basic, cool. Well, I'm going to fetch probably just a basic island here. Actually, underground is fine. Alright, so we'll significantly thin here. And we will get to flip our Nissa. Okay, it's a mana drain. Very cool, very cool. And we'll likely just block here. I feel like we have gained significant advantage at this point. So, our mana situation is quite sizable. And I have no problem chump blocking with the Snapcaster because the game's well in hand. They're at 14 life. We have a dig through time, so if they decide to do nothing, then that's fine by us. And if they do something, then we'll likely counter it and just continue to build up some incremental advantage with Nissa, the Sage Animist, which is obviously, it shines in this deck. It's kind of a weirdo card from the standpoint that it's really only wanted in like the extreme ramp decks, like, you know, kind of what my opponent's playing and then what I'm playing as well. Alright, so we have a big spell getting cast. Well, this is probably going to get mana drain, bro. Could just be a Green Sun Zenith, kind of what it feels like. Not a lot of 7s that come to mind. I was like maybe a Carnage Tyrant. Could be that. If it's that, it'll make my decision quite easy. I'll just dig through time. I don't think I need the excess mana. And what we'd be looking for... Alright, yeah, that's fine. You can cast that thing. I suppose they do have the ability to also gain some life, so they can go back up to 17. But 17 is not extremely different from... Not extremely different from 14 for purposes of what our deck is doing. You have to keep in mind we've lost 2 mountains. That's still more than enough. And at this point, we're actually on. We're going to have enough lands to do it all, as they would say. I think here I don't really need to play around much, so I'm going to tap low. I think I do want to keep Snappy in there. I don't think I need these lands. Burst Lightning seems bad. Alright, so let's go ahead and dig through time and see if we can find our win con or a way to get to it. And unfortunately, no, we cannot. However, we do have Cultivate and Jace Vryn's Prodigy, which are both very strong cards. Don't really need to ramp much more than this. They could have an instant as well, maybe like a Beast Within or something like that, which would be good against our Nissa Sage Animist, because that is kind of our draw engine right now, and the way things have kind of played out, we're likely to just play out the kitchen things and leave up mana drain. I guess we could play Jace as well. Okay. Well, Moto, unfortunately, is a little bit laggy. Okay, the Lumbering Falls. Let's first see what we have coming up here. Hopefully not a mountain land. If it's ScapeShift or Demonic Tutor, we just win. Mystical Tutor could not do it here because we'd have to draw into it, so it'd still be another turn. Bring to Light would also do it. So there's a few cards that we could find here that would be extremely good for, especially considering we're already on 69 cards in deck. So the deck is sizably thinned. Well, hopefully our opponent just F6s. I assume they can gain life, but like I said, the 17 is really not different. And at this point, even 21 is not truly different. Well, guys, another quick pause, I suppose, as we kind of wait for our opponent to either F6 or take whatever fast effect action they want to take here. Alright, guys, back. We drew into a Deathrite Shaman, which is a fine card. Like I said, I'm just going to play out these Oopies here, and then play out the Jace of Vryn's Prodigy. I don't think cultivating here is correct. What is the ultimate on this? I think it's not that good, if I recall. I mean, I guess it wins. It does kill. So, that's a thing. Alright, a +1/+1 counter. Actually, not really scared of that. That does not bother me. I mean, it means they can like win in blocks against my kitchen finks, you know, but they're not going to kill the Nissa right away, and you know, they have to know that I already have Mana Drain set up and that I'm going to be able to probably cast back Dig Through Time next turn. I could also repeal, so if I draw a card draw spell, I will likely Personal Tutor. If I do not, I will likely go for a Dig Through Time off of Jace. It's also possible that I want to just utilize Nissa's -2 to create a 4/4 and just, you know, continue to gum up the board and buy time, because with Mana Drain in hand, I feel like not a lot can go wrong here. I've at least got like anything that stops me covered. I think actually with Bo they wanted to gain life because I win all at once through Shift, and I believe the upper limit of it, I'd have to look at the deck again. I believe the upper limit of it's probably 30 damage, but we've already taken two mountains out of the deck. So I will most certainly block the Mold Shambler. And if my opponent wants to utilize the Bow of Nylea, then they may. Yep, that's fine. Obviously, I could have blocked the Leaf Gilder and kept my Finks alive, but I'd rather have my Nissa at a slightly higher loyalty. We'll gain a little bit of incremental life here. Go back up to 18, which is fine. Yep. Yeah, that card's fine too. Okay, it's a Courser. I think I'm just going to ditch the Lumbering Falls here. That may be wrong. I kind of want an untapped land here. So go ahead and draw. See what we can find. Still looking for ScapeShift or some way to get after it, because right now we do have lethal on board. Courser is pretty cool in this deck. Courser's just a cool card in general. Very, very strong one. I don't think my life total is under so much pressure that I really need to have it on board, though. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get rid of the Lumbering Falls here. Okie doke. Well, Well, we'll see what they get up to here. I'm kind of the mind to just block. So 1, 2, 3, 4 mountains out of the deck. Yeah. Do I care about the Courser surviving? I don't really think I do. I'm of the mind just to block here. Okay, that's going at that. Which means I'll probably double block it with the Deathrite. I know I'm losing all my creature cards here, but I don't feel horrible about this. I think this is perfectly fine. This may seem like a very low value block, but I'm just buying time, like I said. Like I feel like with both Memory Lapse and Mana Drain in hand, I have significant inevitability in this game. And another Jace. And a Dig Through Time on tap for next turn, although I am a little short on blue mana, and this Flooded Grove is actually going to fix that issue nicely. Yeah, it's fine. You get minus... oh, you're going to get that thing. Yeah, that's right. That's fine. I'll probably utilize that thing up next turn. And what do you play? Nothing. Okay. Let's draw first. Alright, T-Del. Mildly interesting. We're just going to cast Dig Through Time here, I want to say. Well, let's cancel that. Let's utilize the forest here. Make the double blue required. And we'll go a digging. Alright, Demonic Tutor. And I suppose Dig Through Time. And Demonic Tutor will go for the... almost picked up Valakut. It's going to go for ScapeShift. And we'll float some blue mana, just in case. Okie doke, so let's do Volcanic, Valakut, Taiga, and this should be enough. I did not do it as exacting as I typically would. And we'll get Maze of Ith. And that is definitely enough. Unless they have some way to instant speed gain life. Yeah. So, that is a 4-color ScapeShift. really call it bug ScapeShift. I mean, the red is in here just to really play Valakut and a few other cards, so we had enough there. Okay, so we're playing against green. Deathmark is interesting. I think this deck is pretty well set up against green decks. Maybe we do want something like Flash Freeze over what? Evasive Action? Possibly. Probably Fire Ice, actually. I don't think that's as good. Perish is interesting. I mean, obviously it hits my own creatures, but I really don't care about my creatures. As you saw in that matchup, like, I'm fine with them dying. Dark Blast is also mildly interesting, but I kind of want to control what goes into my yard. I don't think it's going to be as good as it would be in, like, White Weenie. As you can tell, this deck is pretty tacked down against Weenie decks, specifically white ones. And even in the main deck, it has some decent control options. I mean, it really just is a combo control deck that randomly wins through ramping, which is pretty cool because it generally tends to get a fast mana advantage over a lot of other decks. This one we kind of stumbled a little bit on mana. We hit our stride a little bit later than expected as far as mana development goes, and then we kind of struggled near the end there to actually find a way to get after our true win con, which is not the mid-range beats we were doing in the beginning, but Valakut itself through Shift. So we'll see how this next one goes. Being able to dig through time twice, obviously pretty hard to lose if you're playing combo control and you get to dig twice. So we just saw a lot more cards than our opponent with a sizably thin deck. So we'll see how this game goes. I am a big fan of this deck, though. I have not actually played this deck competitively yet. I do think it's actually a pretty cool deck. I don't think it's as all-in as like the modern versions of ScapeShift. I mean, obviously you could build a 4-color variety. I believe there was a Bring to Life variety of this deck, but I tend to feel like it wasn't quite as controlling as this one is. Now, most of the ones now are just basically red-green ramp. Well, quick pause, guys, while our opponent does what they need to do. Alright, guys, this hand looks great. I do need to check something really fast in this deck list to see if I have Dryad Arbor. So, let us do that real fast. We actually do not run Dryad Arbor. Okay, good to know. This is a keep, though. I especially like the fact that we do have available to us early mana acceleration. So, we're going to go for a breeding pool here, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, Tropical Island, not breeding pool. Okie doke. And then depending on what our opponent does here, if they play like a Rofellos, I'll probably bounce it with Repeal. Because I don't want to just lose. Alright, that card is fine. Well, we found a way to find our win con. Just find a swamp there. I think that is fine. Let's see what they have now. What was the last card they played? Elvish? What does this card do? Okay, that's interesting. It's an anti-control card. It's very expensive, though. Just find a forest here. Could pulse. If we don't hit a land drop, we may pulse. I don't know on that yet. Let's look at our 1-drops real quick and see if there's... Nope, there's only one 1-drop, so we need to ostensibly get a 2-drop, and it's probably Sakura Tribe Elder. Or Snapcaster. Oh, Snapcaster you can't get. Never mind, that's silly of me. Yeah. I think we just attack here. Yeah, Pulse can get back Wooded Foothills, which can get the breeding pool, which is moderately interesting. I think I'd rather save Pulse, though. We'll chip in there for a little bit of damage. Opponent doesn't know it, but being at 18 life against this deck is actually extremely bad. because it means it only takes 7 lands for me to win, and I do have the personal tutor available to me right now, so it's not irrelevant. If they do nothing this turn, then I'm probably just going to green some Zenith for Secure a Tribe Elder. I do still hope to hit lands. I'm not blocking that. Alright, land drop. That is very good. Very strong, as they would say. This thing has Death Touch, right? It does. So, I'm liking this line a little less from our opponent. I'm not going to leave back the Deathrite. Because I have a blocker this turn, I don't feel a need to repeal, and it'd be nice to be able to repeal on the same turn that I cast the personal tutor. Kudzu. Okay. Should get a land here. And we'll actually get a Bayou, I think. I'm actually going to pulse this thing. And hang back. I don't think my opponent can win now. They're at 16 life. If they attack Nissa, that's irrelevant. If they have some way of disrupting Mystical Tutor, then I have Bring to Light, and I am on 7 lands. Yeah. Seems like enough. That's fine. Okay. Well, a lot of big things and dudes and stuff. That's fine. So here, I'm going to go ahead and Mystical Tutor for ScapeShift, I believe. Yeah. So let's get ScapeShift. And this is 100% lethal. There is no way on tapped out. I think my opponent can survive this. So, Valakut, Taiga, and sorry for the slow process, guys. Unfortunately, tutoring for numerous cards in a library is very physical memory intensive, evidently from Moto. And this is enough to kill. Yep. By, well, essentially 4 with the Deathrite Shaman. So, I'm going to go ahead and cut it there, guys. This is the ScapeShift deck that I've been working on for a little bit, and the deck's pretty cool. I definitely enjoy playing it. I think it's actually a very cool combo control deck. What does it die to? Well, Blood Moons, mostly. Although it does run a fair bit of basics. The only issue it runs into is it doesn't really have a ton of like threats. A few of them include like Titania, which is a decent threat. But the rest of the cards are kind of just, like they're like bridging cards. So I say bridging card, I mean like, Kitchen Finks, Obstinate Baloth, Thragtusk, stuff like that, just to like keep you alive, keep the game, stretching out, going on, so you can eventually find one of your tutors, or numerous of them, as you can see our hand right now, and then just win the game. Turn 6 is no slouch, especially for a control deck, and as you saw, our opponent got a little bit mana screwed, but it was their keep, to either keep or throw away, and we were able to kind of punish that. Regardless, we obviously, got well ahead of the curve on mana, as far as mana goes, just, due to having, cards like Secure Tribe Elder and Rampant Growth. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this very short series on ScapeShift. It's a deck I don't really see a lot of folks play. I believe sometimes in the 100-card tournament we have Total Hate play like a 5-color version of it, but it's much less all-in on ScapeShift as far as, it's a little less focused. And it uses more so like Planeswalkers to win, whereas this deck is pretty focused on how it's going to win the game. And what I would compare it to is it's kind of like Blue-White Miracles, except for it's less controlling. It can win a lot faster than Blue-White Miracles can, and it tends to win out of nowhere, like you see here. Just, they're at 16, 17, 18 life, and they're -2 the next second. So very cool deck. I definitely enjoy playing it. I think it's very sweet, and I hope if the deck interests you, you guys will pick up a list or brew your own. Very fun deck. So take care now and enjoy.